Good Friday afternoon, evening, wherever you might be. Victor?
Hey, guten Morgen.
Oh,
I see that my
video is choppy.
Yeah, I didn't fix it. I'll switch to a different mic
Camera.
and then we'll see.
Okay, try the different mic. That way we can try to rule it out live. By the way, Happy New Year. This is our first show back in 2026. It feels really late since it's the 9th, but that's what it is. So I'm going to put it this way. Victor and I were talking before we started. This is going to be a very AI-heavy show because there's nothing else going on, especially over the holidays. But there was one item that I thought was interesting. So we'll see how that goes. Just in case you don't know, my name is Darren. This over here is Victor, and we're the co-host of a podcast called DevOps Paradox that comes out on Wednesdays at 6 a.m. Eastern. What are you saying?
That's me with a terrible mic.
And it's still choppy. Okay, so let's go back to the good mic and go to the bad camera.
That's fine. That's what we'll do.
I think we'll figure it out afterwards, but I think it's that low disk space error that we get or issue that we see in StreamYard.
Maybe, yeah.
I think that's probably, we got to track that down. But anyway, and we try to do this, but hey, look, his video should catch up in a minute. So hopefully you can. It's sort of weird because when we're listening in audio, it's like I can't forgive bad audio, but when I'm watching video, I can't forgive bad video. But I'd rather have good audio than bad video always. So let's get into it because I want to try to keep it to an hour today. To everybody that's here live, there are a couple of items that we're going to call out specifically around the podcast. We had Christmas. We had looking back on 2025, which happened to be on December 31st, which was perfect. Why can't we have December 31st always be our release date? That would be great. It's like we're looking back. We already knew what was happening.
Or just have every day December 31st.
When you're retired, every day is a Monday and every day is December 31st. But then we had our predictions for this year, the year of discovery for 2026. Now, if you haven't listened to it this week, go listen to it. Now, let me go ahead and give you, in case you haven't listened to it yet, at the very front of that podcast, we did sort of a state of the podcast. And I said that we have turned on ads. Well, as of today, ads have been turned on. So if you've been watching on YouTube, you're already getting ads anyway, unless you were paying for YouTube Premium, and then thank you didn't see the ads from YouTube. But now our audio is ad supported. It's very basic. There's, I think, 2 ads up front, 2 ads at the very end. That will be changing as well. There will be a paid option coming, first at Apple subscriptions. And I know a lot of people, here's the reason, here's the other part of this. So Apple subscriptions, that'll be the first one because it's the easiest one for me to turn on. We get less money from it, but whatever. The second part of this is I'm actually working on a platform for myself to have subscriptions. Now you think about it, there's, if you've looked at Changelog, I'll call them out. Changelog has Changelog Plus. And Changelog Plus and numbers of other podcasts use Supercast. That's great. My problem is most of our listeners, it's 50-50 US and then non-US. There's this thing called sales tax and there's this thing called VAT. Sales tax I'm not as concerned about in the US. But VAT, it seems like if you sell one thing, you need to be collecting VAT. And VAT seems to be... how can I put it?
Yep.
Much more complex than the U.S. tax code. So
in U.S.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, as a vendor, it is.
Yeah.
So Supercast does not act as what's called a merchant of record. So there's actually 2. We need to get these 2 companies on. I think we've had Paddle on before. So Paddle is one that's a merchant of record. They do a lot of SaaS. And then 2 is Lemon Squeezy, who was bought by Stripe, which sort of makes sense. So they act as merchants of record. So when you're buying the subscription, it will go through, we're going to be using Lemon Squeezy. Crazy name, but it's cheaper to do. So as a vendor, how much they take. So that will be coming sooner. So if you're using Overcast, if you're using Castos, if you're whatever other players you're using besides Apple. So if you're on Apple Podcast, it will be coming to Apple subscriptions hopefully within the next week. This other system, I'm still having Claude finish up for me. And the reason I found out ads were on today is I was downloading all the podcasts to have the clean and I realized that the ads were on because I was supposed to get an email saying ads were turned on. I didn't get the email. So that's what it is with ads. All right. Sorry to go so long on that, but hey, not having a job to have funding to fund the stuff. That's it. Now you might be saying, Darren, why don't you get a job? Can I say I don't want to? Is that a valid answer?
I mean, nobody can complain that somebody who is at the retiring age
Should
is
start
not allowed
again.
to say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about the one piece of non-AI information today. Percona has one.
You went out of your way to find it.
Percona donated its database provisioning platform Open Everest to the CNCF. Great. Now, this is what I'm thinking, because I saw this, and it said database provisioning. I went, how could this fit into what Victor's been doing? That's one you always bring up is like, okay, how do we do a database? Just give me a database, right? And you think, you talk about all the different things that give me a database means. And I'm wondering if this fits into that model or not.
Yeah, I mean, the only place where I feel that database provisioning makes sense today, it didn't in the past, that's Kubernetes. If you're self-managing.
Right.
I need to check what it is.
Yep. But it's Open Everest. So
Nice.
the one piece of non-AI information today.
And you know, what is SD Times?
Software development times, I think.
Okay,
the short for.
okay.
Yeah, software development times. Yeah.
Look at that. I didn't know. Cool.
Okay. They, along with, there's like 4 or 5 other sort of Silicon Valley. Well, I think they're outside. I don't know. Whatever. Tailwind. If you haven't heard of this week, I'm not a front-end person. Victor, you're not a front-end person. And we're happy and glad that we are not front-end people. But Tailwind helped make front-end a little bit easier, at least from the CSS perspective, as a Tailwind CSS. They lost 75% of its engineers thanks to brutal impact of AI. Now, the 75% was 3 people. But they are down 80% in revenues. And there was one other number, I think it's actually in this. There were a lot of articles on this. I tried to find the one that had the least amount of ads.
You know, to me, this smells like we are in bad financial shape. What do you do when you're in not a good shape for your investors? You fire off people. How do you fire people without saying that you're firing people? Well, it's AI fault. That's how it smells to me. As if everybody's using AI as an excuse now.
Okay. Yes. However, in this case, because one of the things they sold, because this is an open source project, and they sold basically upgraded documentation. Well, now you can ask AI to help you do the Tailwind thing, and you don't need the documentation anymore. That was one of their core sales things. And they also had sort of building blocks already created. I can't remember what Catalyst is one of the products, and I think it was like Tailwind Plus or something. I can't remember what it is. Yeah, they weren't totally expensive. It was like $150 or $250. It wasn't one time. It wasn't ongoing. Different conversation. But now those building blocks that you paid for, now AI can write those building blocks for you, and you don't have to pay anything.
Yeah.
So this is a bigger story of open source, right? Because yeah, this okay. It sucks for Tailwind, but I think it's an even broader. I'm going to call it a problem that. And I saw somebody write this the other day, and I didn't pull it for this one. It's like, why even bother writing open source libraries anymore? If you're going to be using an agent to write the code for you, naturally, why use a framework? Right? Why even bother?
There is a good reason why even bother, and that reason is if you're familiar with that framework or language or whatever it is, you will be more efficient at reviewing what AI does. Right? Because now AI can do whatever it does. That's awesome. And theoretically, it could drop all the libraries and you just go directly AI writing everything. But the question of efficiency now is not whether AI can do this or that, but how fast you can confirm that what AI did is right. So if it's going to write 2 lines of code and use a library that you're familiar with, that's very different effort on your side to review than if it writes 1,000 lines of code.
Or in my case.
And I'm still traditional. I still believe that we should be reviewing. I never had a case where AI did everything right. 100%. Never.
Yeah. And somebody did a follow-up. So Adam is the founder of Tailwind, and he does this walk-around podcast. And this guy lifted a couple of things. One of the hardest things for me is feeling like an idiot for somehow being able to build this CSS framework that's taken over the world and is used by everyone and super popular, but I cannot figure out how to have it make enough money so that 8 people can work on it, which is like nobody. That's the story of open source.
Yeah,
Right.
This is not new. Not new at all. Let me put it this way: I can name as many companies as you want that have 10 or 50 or 100 or a few hundred people and still cannot make money.
This is not a new story.
No.
It's new to Tailwind because they finally felt the pain. Right. And that's
Yeah.
and not from but here's the twist this time. A lot of times open source projects would feel it from competitors. Would feel the pressure from competitors. This isn't a pressure from a competitor. This is a pressure from something that pulls revenue directly from you.
Yeah, and it is a competitor. It's just that now competitor is Anthropic.
Right. Huh. That ought to be fun. Or fill in the blank of all the other companies that are in that space. So this will be interesting to watch how it plays out. And then on the other side, so my order of stories are sort of wonky today. I couldn't come up with a great order. GitHub posted this yesterday, why AI is pushing developers towards typed languages.
Absolutely.
Why not?
I mean, this is going to sound very silly, but just being able to build what you just wrote and detect that there is something wrong is a huge win.
It does sound silly, but good grief. That's 90% of the problem, right?
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like simply this does not compile. And that's typed languages. Right? And that's useful for people. That's useful for machines. I don't even understand why our languages are not typed languages. I honestly don't.
Yeah, so it gets into Python, JavaScript. But anyway, what it's seeing is type safety that big of a deal? Yes. Next question. That's the answer. It's just
exactly.
Yeah. So I thought it was an interesting article. By the way, before we go on, K Squared, good to see you. Thanks for being here with us live today. It's like it was initially because, okay. So let me ask you this: when did you start using TypeScript?
Maybe half a year ago. I mean, I used it on and off before, but half a year ago that I'm serious with it. Yes.
And why did you start using TypeScript?
Because it was the most commonly used language for the project I wanted to build. And actually, in the meantime, I learned it's awesome.
Yeah. Well, it's got its own problems, but TypeScript is better than raw JavaScript. Let's put it that way. Just
because really, this goes back to the story, to the conversation I had before about how much effort am I going to put into reviewing. And when I say reviewing, I put it as a broad umbrella, right? Testing it manually, doing whatever I need to do to check it. Now, I will spend less time doing all the tasks I need to do to validate that I did something right. The more AI itself is able to validate it. And that's where typed languages come in. It's not the only thing. There are a gazillion other things, right? But the point is that AI also should be spending less time writing, more time validating, building, writing tests, running tests, whatever there is, right? And so that's why that capability of AI to validate its own work is crucial. And typed languages are a tiny part of that.
okay. So, oh, by the way, all the links for today's show are already down in the description if you're here with us live. Something from Jason Fried, the guy at Basecamp or 37 Signals, depending on how you want to look at it. Very short. I won't read it, but basically, AI workflows are technically impressive, but there's a deeper reason. It's a new psychology. It's a new way to think. You and I have talked about this.
Yes.
And it happened to me this week. I was working on 2 projects at the same time, 2 terminal windows. That's not a lot, by the way, when you talk to people that are really into it. And I was basically like, I feel like the manager to where people were coming by my front door and checking. It's like, hey, can I talk to you for a second? Do you have a minute? That's what I felt like dealing with these 2 different windows. Like dealing with one window, it's not like, it's sort of like I'm in a war room working with somebody, right? That's easy. It's pair programming. That second window, man, I felt like, okay, I was just over here talking to this guy about this. Now I've got a context switch to come over to this one. But what it's like to delegate to total competency. So if you've told your agent, your skill, whatever the thing is that's doing the work, of how to do the thing, and it's been doing it well, versus, hey, let's go hire a bunch of juniors, or let's bring in a bus load of consultants.
I keep repeating, it's the same problems we have with people.
Yeah.
It's the same problems, Caro. You have no idea how many, I mean, you probably do, how many times I've worked with competent and how many times I've worked with incompetent people. The second group is much larger, right? And the hand-holding and explanations and corrections were very, very high. This is only the deja vu of things that we experienced. And I feel that people who never were in a position that on the other end, that you actually work with other people in terms of delegating, asking for something and things like that, only those people don't understand really the troubles now.
Well, I think beyond that, going back to the human factors, like if I needed to lay people off, that would be hard. Plus, there's a lot of legal things you got to do. If I need to lay off an agent, I just stop paying the bill. That's it, right? There's that part of, I mean, I'm not saying that it's great. It would be great for people to have work. But at the same time, it's like, I did one thing the other day. And I was like, I could have done it myself, but
the previous news about layoffs, that is going to, what was Tailwind? That is going to explode on internet, and it's nothing to do with AI.
Right.
I mean, at least nothing to do with AI as if AI replacing their own people.
Right.
You know, you just read the fine print over there, revenue dropping by 80%. That's the reason.
Mm-hmm.
So don't blame AI. At least not as AI replacing you. Maybe AI, because of AI, your business needs to change drastically. And if that's the case, then that's a cautionary tale for everybody else, because every company is going to be in that boat. Every company.
If you're not there yet, you will be in 2 years, I think. I think there, it could be faster, but
I think that depend. That is the story. All the stories that we are hearing now are stories repeating from the past, right? And in this case, that what you just said, that depends on competition, right? So maybe there will be no bank that will, in the next 5 years, that is important with many users, that will change drastically how they work. And then nobody will need to do anything. But when that happens, then everybody is going to scramble along and try to figure out, well, what the heck do I do now? So that's coming. It only depends on whether in your type of industry, there is somebody who is going to do it now or tomorrow.
There's probably a lot of great clips out of this I probably should create today's show, because you're saying a lot of things that will...
One thing related to Tailwind and firing UX, was it front-end developers, right, Darren?
It was, well, it's all front-end. So, they were engineers creating Tailwind. So that's...
So we will interact with computers less and less based on UIs. Kind of like, let's say documentation, right, Tailwind. If you have no documentation, then AI will not do the right thing. So people will not be able to use your stuff. You cannot not have documentation. But here's the question. Do you care how it looks like?
The answer is no. In fact, we did
Exactly. It can be pure text.
Yeah.
Markdown.
Yeah. In fact, when we talked to, we did a recording yesterday that's coming out in March with someone that he says when they're producing their documentation, they're producing agent first documentation and human second.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. Anyway, competence. We're all over the place. Another thing that sort of, I think, puts the nail in the coffin here. Anthropic pays $750,000. FAANG is dead. 8,000 startups need AI vibe code triage, which is probably true. In fact, one of the guys that we used to work with, that's all he's doing right now is vibe code triaging. And he's making good money. AI agents work 8-hour days. Okay, it's more than that. Amazon goes 100% robotic. 90% of the VCs bets return less than 1x. These are predictions.
Yeah.
Here's the key. AI labs own the talent market. I have to agree with that. It's already there. Or anybody that's heavy into AI. So like Meta. Meta is going to be in that point as well. Super unicorn hires increasingly become only hires that matter. We're not buying. It's who can come in and put money on the board fast.
Yeah. And, kind of, we need, let's hire just 5 random people. That's not going to happen anymore.
I'll pick out a couple more of these. AI coding cleanup market explodes. Okay, yeah, sure. That's exactly what we had back in the old days of Power Builder. People were generating these apps, or even the other 4GL languages. Power Builder wasn't 4GL, but it's like, okay, and then we decided to clean it up. Amazon goes 100% robotic before 2030. I could see that. There's only a handful of people. And here's the reason why I believe this.
Amazon warehouse, maybe.
Warehouse.
Not delivery.
Not AWS. No. But or even, like, I could even argue the data centers. Because I saw CES was this week, by the way. We were talking about this too. And one of the things that was there is like a yard mowing robot that had a little arm on it that could go out and pick stuff up. And we've seen this also with Boston Dynamics with Spot. It can go around the factory and check things out without a human having to go around and check it out. The only thing that matters is changing the battery, which most of them can do themselves now. So being able to just go and empty the factory. Back in the 80s, I come from a family that worked in HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And my dad created or built, how do I say this? He fabricated sheet metal for these massive fabric mills. I'm from North Carolina, so fabric and textiles was the big thing. You'd have 150,000, 200,000 square foot building that would run with 3 people total. 24 hours, 7 days a week. There were hardly any lights there because you didn't need it because there were no humans working there. So I think it's going to become more in here. Now, UPS and FedEx, I am not down with the self-driving yet. I mean, it's fine, but I don't know how you do it at that size. And then how do you get the packages off and to my door?
Yeah. And also, that's why I said in case of Amazon warehouse, not delivery, because hey, if you live in a house outside of the city, but let it deliver to everybody in New York and see what happens, right? No, the thing with all those predictions, right?
Yeah.
Traditionally, I think that all those are right. If you exclude the time frame, we are constantly wrong about the time frame, constantly, right? We were supposed to have self-driving cars everywhere 5 years ago, right? 5G was supposed to be everywhere a few years ago, and so on and so forth, right? So timelines are always screwed, but all those things are coming.
Yeah, the only one that I want to call out here, actually 2 more. The data center build out hits 3.5% of U.S. GDP. It says mirrors the railroad expansion. So, we're about in the same time frame of when this is happening. And then 90% of VC-backed companies will still fail to return 2x.
Yes.
That's nothing new.
But that's not a prediction, that's certainty.
Yeah.
But that's also partly how VCs work.
Yeah.
How much revenue will those 10% bring?
Probably a lot.
Exactly.
Enough to justify the losing bets. That's VC.
The problem with VCs is that those smaller ones that can put on, because the amounts now are staggeringly high, right? That how much you need to invest into a company today is just amazingly high. So smaller VCs might be in trouble because, if you backed 5 companies, that's not the same as if you backed 20, right? The chances of hitting those 10% are different.
Right. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting stack of 26 predictions because these weren't on our list. A couple of posts from Daniel Meisler? Good grief. I meant to look that up again. Here's the biggest changes that he sees in AI. AI becomes verifiable. Doesn't mean trustworthy. Verifiability in the TDD sense. So this will be interesting to see it play out. That's all I'm saying. And the other one is the cybersecurity changes that I thought was pretty interesting. But I'll let you all read them because they're longer-ish posts.
For me, the verifiable is the more important part. And we already see that in software engineering. We're not there, right? But hey, it's building, it's linting, it's checking, it's testing, and all that stuff. That's already happening to some degree. We're not there yet. Now, whether it will build something reliable that matches what you had in your head is a very different story.
Which is what I'm going through building out this subscription service. Is every day because the back end, it's actually all being written in Go because there's no front end. The interesting part with it is every day there's a new, because I'm not a Go developer, and there's a new Go thing that comes into play. It's like, oh, here's Go vuln check. And then there was another Go something that came in for linting, and another, they just keep coming in because I keep asking it to do the same thing over and over again. Like one thing I'm saying is like, do a deep security analysis for me. Because it's going to be a publicly accessible thing. And it keeps finding things each time. It's like it fixes things, and then it finds more things. And that's like, okay, how do I put that into a background that's always doing that for me? That's what Jenkins is for, by the way. Okay, next. Let's lighten it up here a little bit. So here's a post that somebody put up. I guess it was on Twitter. Yeah, because there's the grok symbol. This guy literally created an agent to replace all his employees. Right? Engineering listed out all the agents. Product, marketing, design, product management.
Yeah.
Okay, good. But then the guy that actually reposted this was like, that's nothing. I literally created an agent to replace my entire family during the holidays. I thought it was funny. Okay. Here's one that's serious. Hi, I'm Boris, and I created Claude Code. That's not me, but that's Boris. He talks about how he goes through and sets up his Claude Code setup.
Yeah.
And this, if you haven't read this thread, again, the link to this is there. You need to read it. And it's things I'm realizing. It's like, I don't need to do this. Let me simplify it and just do this. That's the thing I'm seeing is the simplification in using Claude Code is more important than throwing a lot of stuff at it. Because it's smart enough to just do things.
To be honest, that's one of the articles I actually did read before this show, and I think it feels like an overkill.
What do you mean it's overkill? Of what he's doing?
What Boris, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think there are a lot of things that
Kudos to you, Boris. Amazing, Karov, but overkill.
Right. But that's how he does it as the guy that writes it. So I think, like you're saying, it's overkill. There's probably because what were there, 12 items? I can't remember, 10, 12 items. Yeah, there are probably 4 or 5 that would apply to everybody that we should probably do. So that was go in, and then Anthropic just released all the Claude Code secrets. This is just the prompting best practices that came out, which I actually have a deep link to. So it talks about all the different things about how to prompt better. And here's examples. and blah, blah, blah. All the things. Again, this is a long one that was probably written by Claude. We've got to find the right balance between, I'm going to use the word AI slop just because it tends to mean that it's really long and doesn't say a whole lot, and really short that doesn't give us enough information. There's got to be something that's in the middle that a human can actually consume.
That's a tough one.
That's hard.
Kind of sometimes I get irritated by Claude Code explaining me something that I already saw in the code that it changed, because I understand the code it changed. But then there are some other cases you just kind of like makes five changes.
Yeah.
And kind of like, what did you just what did you just do?
Yes.
So I go back and forth, kind of like it's if it gives me too much information, I get pissed. If it doesn't give me enough information, I get pissed. You cannot I'm a horrible person to work with.
It's trying to find the sweet spot feels practically impossible right now, but that's okay. But there's a lot of good information in this prompting best practices. And I think this guy, actually, let me go back here real quick. He mentioned one thing. Oh, of course, I'm not logged in here. If you go through this thread as well, there's a couple of things that he calls out that deep link you to certain things in this document that will help make this make a little more sense. Okay, Vimeo. Oh, a guy that we used to work with. There was a Playwright event done back in November, which I found, and there's video up now. How to remove a flake from a CI system. Accessibility as a testing advantage. Great video. I watched it. It's like, because even if this is one, because I saw this, it's like, okay, this needs to be looped in since it's Playwright. Playwright's a big deal with, at least when I'm using Claude Code. Now I can actually bake this into my product, because it's like, okay, how can I get the testing right? And John, the guy behind this video, walks you through all that. So I would say watch it. It's a good one. Because just because we have AI doesn't mean we don't need CI. Different conversation.
Oh, yeah. we need code being executed for every type of repeatable things. That's not AI. And that includes CI, right? Kind of. Whatever is repeatable, don't use AI. Just as you, in the past, you wouldn't use people. Yep. Maybe that's a good test. Kind of. If there isn't AI, would you use a person for this?
Right. So here's a project that, I don't remember the guy's name. Maybe it's Malvik. I don't know. I built, Vissper 3 times before getting it right. This was interesting of how he went through process of building something. He initially started out, if I remember right, where is this snap? I want to say he started with, where is it? Current version is, okay, here it goes. I believe he started in, where is it? Okay. I seem to remember Electron. I've got too many stories going through my head right now. There it is, Electron. So he did Electron, then he did something else, and then he wrote it in Rust. That's whatever. Well, he didn't write it, but. Mm-hmm. And there's an open source version of this. So the purpose of this is I always wanted a meeting companion, but there's another reason. I discovered Super Whisper and loved it and blah, 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 which is great. At some point I wanted more. A real meeting companion that wanted over controls, which models I used, all the things. So he basically wrote a new one of this. And there's working on a hosted version. It'll cost you. But this is, again, we talked about that bring your own keys a while back. This is another one of those bring your own keys. So open source, the bring your own key, and off you go. And it'll be ready to go. I don't have that many meetings. You're one of the few people I talk to every week. So that's I don't have that many
That's
meetings.
A good thing.
It's good and bad because then I forget how to talk. That's the problematic thing. Fire up Agentic AI adoption. This is written by a friend of mine that I used to work with down in Florida, Christina. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, which is true. Mm-hmm. We could spend an hour on that probably. But she breaks down how they are, or how she's doing it. She's now an engineering manager. So this is how they're playing it inside their company. So it's a fairly short one. And you can understand all the little pieces there. Start a F.I.R.E in 30 days. Foundation, iteration, review, and embed. Off you go. if you're still trying to figure out how the heck do I even get started. This is a nice lightweight way to go. 6 mental models for working with AI. Now, this post is a paid post, so only the first 3 show. But I thought the first 3 were pretty good. The 50x reframe. What would I do if I had 50 people working on this and then work backwards? Now, I did this the other day with editing the podcast. It's like, what if I had 50 people working on the podcast? And it listed out 50 people and 50 roles. And it was only able to get 50 down to 20. It's like, well, I still can't afford 20 people. But then it allows the reframe. So I took this prompt. I currently edit a podcast. Walk me through what this would look like if I had a team of 50 people dedicated to doing this comprehensively and systematically. So this is the other thing for not talking a lot. I don't remember all these big words. So I have to see them. What would each role focus on? What would the ideal output look like? And it was very interesting how it walked me through this whole process. It's like, oh, that's pretty good. Adversarial synthesis was one that was like, okay, whatever. Productize the conversation. This was actually pretty good too. If you're having the same conversation with AI, turn it into a tool. Every repeated prompt is a signal. Don't repeat yourself. This is dry all over again. Your workflow is basically telling you that this task is valuable enough to formalize. So they used this prompt to help come up with a way to do that, and even beyond that. So, and this is a paid, so I don't know what 3 through 6 or 4 through 6 are, because I didn't pay for it. But in this exponential view, there's also this spreadsheet that I linked to, that these are the tools that he is either using or getting ready to evaluate. And some of these most of these I have not heard of. And the number just keeps, numbers meaning how much you would spend, just becomes. So I looked at the free ones, a handful of the free ones. Like I looked at Goblin Tools and it was like, that wasn't much to me. I looked at the Pivotal thing, that was But it's just an ongoing list of things that you might need to take a look at. Notice there's a skip. It's not Skype, it's skip, which is funny. No E. Okay, where are we at? This one. Yet another X post. Oh, the new Gemini CLI now supports skills. Remember we talked about skills coming to all the things? Now Gemini has skills.
Yeah, everybody seems to be adopting it. I'm a bit surprised, because it comes from competitor, but it's amazing. Yeah. I don't know if you have it in the news, but Anthropic just released a bunch of things.
We're going to look at that. We're going to look. I'm actually going to pull up, because they actually didn't do a blog post on it, or if they did, I didn't see it. But I've got it pulled up in another window. We're going to take a look at it, because I want to talk about something else I saw about them today, too. This guy. Sorry, Denislav. There we go. Clopus Watcher is an autonomous monitoring agent. I just saw this. It looked pretty interesting. I haven't read through it or done anything with it yet, but you need an agent to. This is using Kubernetes. You got something always watching everything.
Yep.
So it's just a watcher for that. Okay. All right. So here are a handful of tools, and then we'll get down to the thing. If you're using Obsidian, which I am not, this is a mashup of Obsidian and Claude Code Personal Knowledge Management, PKM. When I was growing up, there was a band called PKM. So anytime I see PKM, I think of, it was Petey, Kenny, and I can't remember who M was. That was, anyway. Now with hooks, custom agents, so it's just if you're working with Obsidian and you haven't actually done all the wiring up with Claude Code yet, now's probably the time to consider looking at that, because why wouldn't you? I mean, at the end of the day, all the Obsidian documents are marked down. Okay, so that's that starter kit. Mole. I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I say the word? Because it could be mole. But then I saw the picture. It's like, no, it's mole.
Yeah.
Deep clean and optimize your Mac. This is basically an open source competitor to Clean My Mac.
Okay.
Maybe this would work for you to try to figure out why we're having all the problems with your
I'm
video.
always struggling. Mac, that's one of the things I dislike with Mac. Things end up in random places, and I don't know where they are.
Yeah. I haven't.
I feel that Linux is so much cleaner on that aspect, and Windows I haven't used in a long time.
Yeah. But there's thousands of those kinds of tools for Windows. That's the thing. There's a handful of tools for Mac, and they don't exist for Linux because we don't need them. So it's mul. Continuous Claude. This is a session continuity, token efficient, key part, MCP execution, and agentic workflows for Claude Code. I have a feeling a human did not write that. But here's a whole table of contents. Here's how the sessions work. This is always interesting when people draw, or Claude draws pictures to show where things are and how things are actually working. This is just yet another one of those. How do we do this? So here's the problem. Runs low in context. It compacts. Then each compaction is lossy. After several, you're working with a summary of a summary of a summary. It's like doing audio, right? Making a copy of a copy of a copy. Do you remember what a cassette tape is, right? You would record the song, and somebody would take your tape and copy from your tape, and somebody would copy from their tape until eventually it just sounded like garbage.
Exactly. The only thing I can say on that one, do your best never to reach the context limit. So just don't do compacting.
Yeah. If you get to that point and you see there's 5% left, it's like, can I stop and type /clear and start over?
I mean, create some kind of prompt command, whatever it is that will keep the information that is relevant, clear it, read it, start over.
Start over again.
No, not over. Sorry, continue.
All right. Yep. So anyway, this is what the solution is here. Clear, don't compact, save state to a ledger. This is what you're saying. Wipe context, resume fresh.
Correct.
So this supposedly keeps all of the ledger management normal. Again, I haven't installed it yet, so I don't know. But that's Claude, continuous Claude. There we go. I have this was the big news this week, was Gastown. Steve Yege, which I'm not sure if that's how you say his name, he and Gene Kim wrote the book Vibe Coding that came out last October, November, somewhere in that ballpark. This thing, let's see, can you see it? Yeah, if you look right up here in the right-hand corner, you see how small that is? This thing is massive. But basically, let me show you the picture, because the picture, goodbye, shows us, where is the picture? Who runs Gastown? This is close enough. This isn't the picture I liked, but it's close enough. So basically, there's a mayor who runs the town. So Gastown is built around digging for, this is sort of like during the U.S. gold rush or anything. So all these kinds of things that were happening. You have a mayor that dispatches everything. You have an overseer that watches the mayor to make sure. So this is going back to that one we were talking about, whose was it? Where was he? Clopus Watcher. This is sort of like that. That's its whole purpose in life, is to make sure that the mayor is still working. Right? Yep. That's it's sort of like the court jester. It's like, okay, you still there? You still there? Okay, good. There's a deacon that keeps things running, refineries. So it uses all the oil names. Witnesses, polecats, crew, beads, which is another framework that Steve wrote. And you can go through and read all this. I'm not going to recommend that you do, because he lays out exactly how he sets his up, which is very nice. So I'll give him that. But you get down to the very bottom. Is it here? Here we go. Remember the golden rules. Do not use Gastown if you do not juggle at least 5 Claude codes at once. So if you're not doing that, don't worry about it. Do not use Gastown if you care about money. Don't care about that one. And then do not use. So it's really these first two that are not the jokes.
Yeah.
And it's new. So be careful. But if you fall into these two categories, Gastown might be for you. But it is very interesting. You had 3. Stop resisting AI or get left behind.
Yeah.
I think that's what we've talked about all day today. Is what it amounts to, right?
Yeah, it's the same story that was happening many times before. It's just that now it's happening much faster. Yeah. There are always people that are ahead of the curve. There are people who follow the curve, and there are people who reject it. And then they wake up one morning.
Yeah. deep into Kubernetes references. This will be interesting to see why this video showed up here. Because the story it's like, okay, where did this come from?
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, I'm not only AI person.
Yeah, I know that. And then I lost the thumbnail on those top 10 DevOps AI tools. This is a long one, by the way. I was sitting on the TV watching one. This was long. I'm
sorry I couldn't make it shorter.
Yeah, that's okay.
I did not know what to remove.
Yep.
So
I'm going to get into a couple questions here. I actually don't have actually, we're going to take a look at Claude Code, but I want to get these questions just in case he was. Oh, yeah. Kubernetes was misspelled in that graphic. Let's see. Was it? Oh, yeah, it sure is. Right there. 2 T's.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, well, what can you do?
Let's look at, beads and Gastown unfortunately missed the mark. I think it's a solution in search of a problem. I could be wrong. And then thoughts on open code and plugins like my open code. I haven't looked at either one of those. Have you?
I used open code. I think it's the best one among those that I tried and among those that are not tied to a specific vendor. Mm-hmm. It's nowhere close Claude Code. Just it's a different league, right?
Right.
Maybe not even Gemini. Close. Gemini CLI. Now, but if you're looking for something that is not tied to Anthropic or Gemini, so on and so forth, open code is great. It's great. And I haven't tried all my open code. I haven't tried that, so I don't know.
Yeah, let me expand this a little bit more. So this is Claude Code. In fact, I just installed the latest that came out this morning. I don't know if you noticed or not. I saw somebody politely complaining, not complaining, just calling out that there was, the last big one was 74, and then 75 and 76 came out before Christmas, like before the holidays. Mm-hmm. And then nothing happened until 210 or 210, which we'll talk about in a minute. But so it's massive. And
yes.
They've done another massive one. So the person was basically saying, hey, look, there's a reason why releasing little things quickly and often make a difference.
Yes.
It just shows why we want to. Because it's like, I would prefer not to have more than one release of Claude Code a day. Like, I'd like to be able to get started in the morning or whatever time, right? If I knew when it was being published, it's like, okay, I know I'll grab it then and move on. But when we're getting multiples a day, that's like, okay, whatever. But then we go weeks without. It's like, okay, well, I guess everybody's on vacation. Good. I'm glad they are. But then we come back, and now we're getting these massive buckets because Claude was working. Even though the humans weren't working, Claude was working on itself and coming up with new things. One of these new things is automatic skill hot reload.
Oh, you have no idea. So how often do I press Control C twice to exit and then Claude -- continue?
Yeah. It's there.
Now, one thing that I'm missing with skills, and maybe it's there somewhere hidden. I haven't tried the new release yet, but that I'm missing is to execute skills as /commands.
Yeah, so
because sometimes for me it's simply easier to just type / first 2 letters, enter.
Right. And the way I got around that, unfortunately, was to create a command to call the skill. I mean, it sounds cheesy, but that's...
Yeah, it's doable, and then I do it sometimes, but simply, hey, come on. It shouldn't be hard.
Yeah. Add support for running skills and / commands in a forked sub-agent context using context fork.
That's big.
Support for agent field and skills to specify agent type for execution, which is interesting.
Because, for going back to the other one, run anything in a fork sub-agent.
Yeah.
That's the the context management we mentioned a couple of times before, right? Kind of, if you run tests in a separate agent and then that separate agent goes back to the main agent with everything is okay, that's only a few characters,
right?
A few tokens spent in the main agent, in the context of, not spent as in money,
Total.
right? But
Yeah.
in the context size.
Yep. Agent field, language settings, shift enter now works out of the box, which I never had the problem with. Respect get ignore is supported at is demo. Tie email and organization from the UI, useful for streaming or recording sessions. Remember this. So if you're going to do a demo with Claude Code, is demo. Interesting. Security issue where sensitive data could be exposed in debug logs. Let's see, fixed files, fix. These are all fixed. Now let's go in, because I haven't looked at, I just literally ran the install before the show. So let me look. Is there anything here, and then it sort of goes downhill from there. Okay, but I guess just so long. There's so much to look at. Improved stats, and a couple of VS Code. Okay, so here's the one that I installed this morning. So added source path metadata to images dragged into the terminal, helping Claude understand where images originated from. Okay. Clickable hyperlinks.
Yeah.
That's useful. Windows Package Manager installation. Okay, I don't care about that. Shift tab keyboard and plan to quickly select auto accept options. Agent. Added agent type to session start hook input. Populative agent is specified. The hooks, man. The hooks are very interesting to me. It's like there are some that are like, oof.
Yeah, but I'm a bit conservative in that sense. I'm still trying somehow not to depend on Claude Code, even though I'm using it 100%.
Right, but
and I really hope beyond hope that all those vendors will get their act together.
And they follow that model.
Create some kind of standards. Like, for example, there are many things. I'm a fanboy of Anthropic, Claude Code specifically. But there are so many things that really irritate me. Like, for example, why can't they adopt Agents MD?
Right. Because they
or Agent, I'm not sure. Is it Agent or Agents? Agent,
yeah, I think
MD.
it's Agents.md. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of. It's such a tiny, insignificant change to the code that they could do it in a minute. And keep supporting Claude MD. Cool, but why not have Agent MD so that the project I work on does not force everybody
to use
Claude Code?
Yeah.
Right? Because
a
while ago,
assembly.
I had a brilliant idea, which fortunately I haven't done, to create soft links.
That's what,
for all the common agents. Yeah.
That's just, but we shouldn't have to do that. That's okay. No, but I still think that hot reload is the.
That's the start, and running in as a sub agent. Those two are my choices.
Okay, well I think that's it. Again, lots of AI, but the story is the same as it has been for the decades. If you don't have a good business model, going back to Tailwind, your lunch is going to get eaten, and not by you.
Yeah. I mean, but this is an incredible opportunity for smaller companies now, because big companies by definition cannot move fast, and we've never seen such speed as we're having now, right? So these opportunities for small companies, relatively small companies, to go with the speed that big companies can never go and do something incredible and profitable for them, right? And yet, significant number of smaller companies I know of that had some IP before AI are failing to transition. My theory is that they are simply defending their IP rather than using their experience to build something.
Isn't that the easiest thing to do?
To defend IP?
To defend your IP, right? This is
how we've done it.
This is how we made our money.
Yeah, and you need money, so I understand it completely. But it's still complicated because your money is not going to keep coming for long if you don't change something.
Yeah.
For big organizations, it's easy because they have a certain level of stickiness, right?
Yeah.
If somebody would create infinitely better AWS tomorrow, AWS would still not be affected by it, right? You're not leaving it. I mean, I'm using AWS as an example there, but small companies, you leave as fast as you joined.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out. Again, the other reason why I'm not truly actively looking for a full-time job. Just don't want to play the game anymore. So, all right. Anyway, Happy New Year. We are in 2026. It's time to do your taxes. Welcome to the United States. And I think it's
when do you do taxes there?
They're due in April 15th.
Okay.
But I start, but because I still have a business as well, they're due March 15th. So I'm actually starting on my business now, get the business done so that I can do my personal.
Yeah.
National sales tax, people. That's what I'm talking about. National sales. Just pay sales tax. That's it. None of these crazy. I love my accountants. I only have one accountant, but all my accountant friends, I love you. I wish I didn't have to use you. That's just, it would be much better. There will be trade-offs. I understand that. We will be back. At this point, you're not traveling till KubeCon, right?
I don't think so, no. I mean, I'm traveling, not to a public thing. I'm traveling some internal company event, but that's February.
Okay, so you will be out. Is your calendar up to date? I haven't looked at it yet.
It should be, yeah.
Okay. So we're going to be here most Fridays. So if the news keeps on being like it is, we've got to come up with some demos to show something. I don't know what that is yet. Because maybe we break down your Claude Code setup, even though you don't really want to.
We can do that, yeah.
That might be an interesting one to compare it. We'll do yours, we'll do mine, and sort of see how it... Okay, let me ask you this. Are you using global Claude Code for anything, or are you doing everything project-based? Okay.
Never global.
Yeah,
I think that everything should be per project.
I think there might be a couple of things that we could justify as a global.
I mean, read operations, you kind of acceptance of read operations that could be satisfied as global, to be honest. I still don't do it, but it could be, right? Kind of like there is no reason why it shouldn't execute ls
right
automatically. But then there are some tricky ones, like the read operation.
Yeah. You broke up. What did you ask?
But then there are some tricky ones, like find. Is find the read operation? I've seen it doing find and then execute
things,
stuff. Yeah.
But okay, so what about this one? We'll tease it with this one. What about GitHub issue creation?
No, all read operations in my case are require my acceptance.
All write operations?
All write operations. Okay. Yeah. My general rule is that read on your own. You don't need to ask me anything.
Yeah.
I need to confirm any write operation. That be it git push, create a PR, update comments, whatever.
Right. Even on an issue, creating an issue.
Yes.
Okay, so maybe you still have to get that approval, but what about how to construct an issue? Like if you're working
constructing an you write your issue, that's fine. It's just that I have one of the rules I have is that don't ask me many questions. Go directly to edit, do some write operation directly.
Right.
And I will tell you, if I cancel it, I will tell you why. So very often Claude would say, here's the content of a PR that I would like to create for you. Do you agree? And you type yes, and then it creates a PR, right?
Right.
Now, what I do is, don't ask me whether that PR is fine. You go to create a PR right away. And I will not allow you to do that. I will have to accept that operation. So I will review it as operation, not as a suggestion of operation, if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense. But what I'm saying is the way you've come up with that construct, that could be a global for you.
Yes.
Now the question
Yes.
is that what I would want to do? Probably not. So
Yeah.
this is where working in teams, it's like, okay, how do we do this? Because
So-
MCP would be the answer, but then that means everybody has to do the same thing. It's the argument of, do you use Emacs or do you use Eclipse?
Oh,
Do you-
yeah.
whatever. Right. It's like, at what point are the tools, can we use the tools ourselves? And where
now
are
I
they
get I
enforced?
think I get the question. So let me put an additional note. Even though I do everything local within a project, my Claude settings are not in the repo. They're in Git ignore. They work for me.
Interesting.
Prompts, commands, MCP configs, that's all in a repo.
Right.
But Claude settings, no, for two reasons. First of all, what you said before, kind of like, okay, this works for me. I don't know whether it works for you. Maybe you want to actually confirm that it should read the file. I don't know. Why would I care? Right? Second, why would I assume it's Claude?
Exactly. Right.
Right?
And you
And
can't-
what
yeah.
I don't want is to end up in a repo where I work and other people work, and there is a gazillion of directories because everybody adds their own stuff.
Right. This is the variation of seeing a dot idea and a dot eclipse and a dot all the different things from
Yeah,
IDEs.
they should never be pushed to Git.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, that's sort of the tease probably where we'll head to, because I there'll probably be some things we agree and disagree on, but it's just because of how we work. Because
Yeah, I do care about what is in a repo a lot, right? And I don't want to assume that what I use specific to me should be in a repo so that other people have pain with it for no good reason. Just as I don't want, I don't, so if people work with Eclipse, I don't want to see their Eclipse settings in a repo I work in. It annoys me, right? And if I don't want to see their Eclipse config, why would they see my Claude Code config?
yeah, those are the. We're just playing that. We're talking about all these things. Nothing that's happening is new. And this config thing is nothing new either.
No.
So, okay.
Eventually, I feel that, everybody adopted prompts. That's available in every agent now.
Yeah.
Everybody's adopting skills that's available or becoming available in every agent. So we are slowly going towards some kind of a standard. We just now on the other very negative side, every agent configures MCP differently.
Yes.
So everybody adopts supports it, but everybody requires a different configuration. Same thing with say prompts or commands, right? Or skills. Kind of, come on, people.
Yeah.
I couldn't care. So if I couldn't care less about the name of the directory
Yeah.
or the file.
Okay. We should stop because we could go
Let's stop.
for hours now. So we will be back next Friday. Podcast will come out on Wednesday. Again, if you weren't here at the beginning, yes, ads have been turned on the podcast feed. So there will be options to subscribe if you want to. I haven't come up with the pricing, but it's not going to be crazy, I don't think, at least in my opinion. Of course, the creator is going to say it doesn't sound crazy, but we'll see. And then that'll be an Apple subscriptions only to begin with, and then we'll add in some other options if you're using Overcast or whatever else you use. So that's it, everybody. Thank you. Have a great weekend. I guess last weekend was the first full weekend. This is probably the first full weekend after working for a week. I think that's what we have to count. Because last weekend didn't feel like a weekend with the first falling on a Thursday. So it was just one long weekend. So yeah, we'll see y'all next week. Have a great weekend.